Hello, all you hardcore boxing fans out there. How you doing? Big P here. You know, don't you? You know. That's why you've tuned in. Anyway, we've got Chris Burns on from Chorley, Aussie Smith's Manor. How you doing, Chris?
I'm doing much right, mate.
Sat with his hat on in house.
Yeah, sat with my hat on. Doing a Ken.
Kent.
Yeah, doing a Kent, yeah.
How you been? How you been, Chris? All right.
Yeah, I'm all right, mate. Yeah, just plodding on, just keeping active and just working and just plodding on, really, mate.
What you been doing today? You not at work today?
No, I've a day off today. I've just been to Butcher's this morning and just done a bit of cleaning and I'm just chilling out now. I'm gonna go out shopping later.
Been to where this morning?
Butcher's.
What you been there for?
Get me chicken breast.
Ah, you're doing a Mickey Theo on me. Are you eating chicken every 2 hours?
Yeah, I've got I get it at 5 kilo tub at a time. Get 5 kilo tub at a time, and I'll save some of it for in the week, and I'll freeze the rest of it. So I just buy it in bulk instead of like buying little packs all the time. So yeah,
Man, as long as you eat clean, it don't really matter. So you know, if you eat clean, you can eat as much as you want. No good food.
yeah, realistically, yeah, just plenty of chicken and plenty of like rice and vegetables and like oatmeal and stuff like that. Plenty of oats.
As long as you're eating healthy, so and look at what Mickey eats Monday to Fridays. Chicken and pasta all week.
Yeah,
and then at weekend he eats loads of cakes and all that, doesn't he? And trying to
yeah,
trick.
you got to enjoy. He's been there and done it. He's got to enjoy himself now, hasn't
he? Yeah, but he reckons it tricks your metabolism.
Yeah, well, the way I look at it is if like say you eat to maintenance all week and like your body's in like just in the maintenance phase, like you can eat pretty much what you want at the weekend. It won't really touch the sides, and especially when you train as well and you're shifting weight, it's all goes to expenditure. So realistically, a little bit of cake at the weekend or whatever, it's not really going to do anything. You know what I mean?
No, not to make with them veins.
No, yeah, he's lean, isn't he? He's lean.
No, on him is there? No body fat on him. I think he's 7% now.
Yeah, he's very lean. You can tell he eats his kangaroo meat, can't you?
Like Matthew Hatton. Right, a lot's been going on in the sport of boxing. Let me just turn this off, otherwise I'm not going to get a minute. Right, I don't know if you've seen Dennis Hobson's statement come out today. He's obviously his shows tonight, isn't it? But he's put a statement out saying that anybody who goes to the show has got to wear masks and they take it serious and all that. Look, this is how I look at it. That to me is a ready-made excuse if the show doesn't sell out.
Yeah.
Dennis won't be rushing to put statements out like that. Putting that out so they can say on Monday, well, we were up against COVID, this is why we're not doing so good. So they've got the ready-made excuses. They've got they took the belts off the show. There's no belts on. So there were 3 belts on, weren't there, last week? Now they're into that one. It's been trimmed down, 3 fights. And looking at it, they've got a load of guys with winning records. I think there's 7 of them against 6 guys with losing records. The main headline fight, the opponent has a losing record. Was he 10-36 or something? The opponent.
Yeah.
How can that be a headline on TV? Is this scraping the barrel now? Is this where we're at with boxing, Chris? What do you think?
Yeah, well, it fits into the sort of status quo of all shows at the minute, mate. You know, if you look at your matchroom shows, you look at your Queensberry shows, they're no different to what Dennis is putting on. You know, you've got your home fighters on your left side, and you know we're winning records, and a lot of the time you could say padded records, and then you're going against the away fighters. The majority of the time, they've just not got very good records at all. The majority of the time, they're losing records, and they're basically just, in other words, journeymen. And a lot of the time, it's okay padding out your talented, like your stars. For example, you got like you look at your not Matthew Hatton, Campbell Attons. Sorry, for example, you look at your Campbell Attons, and they're putting against these journeymen, trying to pad out his record. But at some point, you've got to take the leap of faith and put him in a good matchup for a good for a title. Like, look at Conor Benn, for example. They flogged him in with Chris Algieri at the weekend. And, you know, you got Chris Jenkins on the sideline for a British title. You got David Avanesian for a European, and they won't put him anywhere near it. You know, a domestic dust-up. An actual fight where it's a 50-50. Won't put him anywhere near it, will they? Just got to keep padding out his record. So for me, it's just that's just the you know, the current climate of British boxing. It's just all about padding out records, and you know, and what happens is when these fighters get to the world titles, eventually, we saw it with Yard when he went to Russia and got flogged, didn't he? And that's just what happens when you skip your levels and you don't learn your craft, you know. And it's just, we say it all the time about learning your craft and, you know, going through the levels, but it's not just boxing. It's the same with anything. You've got to learn your craft and you make your way through it. And the only way you become great is you go through these hard tests early on and you gain experience for it later on when you get to the top. So when you get to the top, you've already been there and you've already had to go through the hard times. You know what I mean? So when you get to the top, it's not a shock to the system. But obviously at the minute, it's just the way it is. You know what I mean, mate? What do you think?
Yeah, I agree with you wholeheartedly, mate. I agree with you.
But it's not acceptable though, is it? Because realistically, all it's doing is watering down the product. I mean, the product's been watered down now for the last few years, but you know, a few years ago, like on the Sky shows, when Eddie was at his peak, when he was working with Sky, you know, like, these sort of things like wouldn't have been acceptable. But now it's the sort of like the norm now, isn't it?
I just think that the format now, and I'm looking at everybody else's shows. I'm not pulling everybody's shows apart. Look, they're doing the best they can, aren't they? But how can you put that on as competitive fights? Dennis keeps going on about competitive fights, and we've got a platform, and we've got to keep people happy and that. Because you read the presses and you look at what they're putting out. He wouldn't have put something like that out years ago, Dennis.
No.
But now it's the norm, because if the big boys can get away with it, Earn and Warren, the others will think, well, we can get away with it. Look what they're putting on. Yeah, and it has a knock-on effect. It needs somebody to take it the right balls and say, right, this is standards we're going to set, and everybody will up the game. But at the moment, they're just putting stuff on just to get it out there, and there's no thought going into it. I mean,
no.
All them losing records on that, and headline opponent in headline fight. Come on.
I mean, one thing I took note to is I was thinking about it. Surely, in the current climate of everything that's going on with COVID and stuff, flying in fighters from abroad, surely there've been more British title fights than ever, and there seems to be absolutely none at the minute. There's not been, like, you'd think every show, every other month, you'd have a British title fight at some weight, but now you just don't seem to get a British title fight whatsoever. You only seem to get one like once every 3 months. Just a weird situation. Surely it'd be better keeping it like in-house, keeping it like all the fighters from like the same country, obviously, like over here, instead of flying out like talent from abroad. Like this guy who Tommy Franks put fighting at weekends, it's from like Bahamas or something, you know what I mean? It's just like, surely you try to keep it like from people competitive from like the same country, you know what I mean? Sure, that would be easier, and financially it'd be cheaper.
It was a Commonwealth title fight that last week. Now it's a non-title fight. That's because they've not done tickets. Can't pay sanctioning fees.
No.
It's supposed to be big hitters with all that money they've got and they're investing in. Like, what are they investing in? Look at them opponents. Some of them opponents, I know what a couple of them opponents are getting. I nearly collapsed when I heard. I was like, what?
Yeah. Well, it's just like the
shocking.
Sorry, Ross. I was going to say it's just like the Dave Allen situation with that Cameroon lad. Like, what were all that about?
Dave Allen versus that Cameroon. Jesus, in light heavyweight, him as well, you know.
Yeah, blown up to heavyweight. What were all that about? On what planet did they think they were going to get away with that?
Norton 5 against somebody that's been in with Ortiz, Dylan White, David Price.
Yeah, Big Daddy Brown. You know, and it's like, on what planet did they think they were going to get away with that? And then they started batting down the hatches, didn't they, when everybody's noticed his record, and they went for the kill on Dave, didn't they? They went in on him, but he had to come out and defend himself. But it was just, I mean, surely Dennis must have known, Russ. Do you not think?
I don't know, you know. Dennis would never speak about opponents like that in front of me, because I'd just say, you're having a laugh, aren't you? He knows who.
Yeah.
So I've never heard them come out with stuff like that, but you don't know if, because Alan manages himself, doesn't he, Alan?
Yeah.
I think this is what I think's gone on. He manages himself, so he's in touch with Matchmaker, which is fucking fat Jason McCrory, 6 sugars in his fucking tea every 2 minutes. But he has about 10 cups of tea a day, 6 sugars in his tea. Fat as a pig Michelin man. But now, I just think that it's embarrassing, and they thought they could get away with it for 24 hours. But Big P don't miss a trick.
No.
And none of other hardcores do. We're not putting up with that for Dave Allen. Dave Allen needs to go and get a job from the job centre. Go to the job centre, Dave. Get a job. You ain't got a day's work in you. Go and get a job. All right? Instead of trying to wing it, because you're trying to wing it in the wrong sport. You're either getting massively overmatched and getting granny smoked at you, knocked at you, or you're massively undermatched against guys like that guy you just tried to fight, that Norton 5 guy. Why don't you try and have some middle ground? Hey, go have some middle ground. Trying to piss up fans' legs. There's no shortcuts to success, and all that about I want to get some fights under the belt and all that. He's then gone running back to Eddie Hearn saying, I don't want to be in small fights, I want to be in big fights. But then he's telling us he wants to be in small fights. And the guy's battling with the something inside his head, isn't it? He's one's part of Dave Allen's battling other part. That's what I think.
Yeah.
I think his brain needs opening up and looking at, needs leaving to medical science.
Do you not think he's trying to get one foot back in with Eddie, Ross? Do you not think he's trying to get back in with Eddie?
Sending him begging text messages every day. You think Eddie gives a fuck about that? Eddie don't give a fuck about Dave Allen. If he did, he wouldn't have paid him 12 grand to fight Louis Ortiz, would he?
No.
Hey.
And he wouldn't have told him to, turn down that money he was offered to fight Danny Dubois. But that's what Eddie does, though, isn't it? You know what I mean?
Yeah, then promises them, and then can't deliver.
Yeah, he can't deliver.
What Dave Allen should have done, Chris, is said, you know what, Eddie? I ain't got a contract with you. I've been great working with you. I've got an opportunity here with Frank Warren to earn a lot of money and set me set up. And there's other fights if I lose this one. And he could have been out at game now, sat pretty, except he's still in the horrible. It's an horrible game, mate. And Dave will know more than anybody. I've seen him after some good hidings he's had, or after some hard spars, and like, oh. My kid's mum used to say, "God, have you seen Dave's face?" I say, "Yeah," and I say it's bad, but these people are not bothered. They don't. The Eddie Hearn just threw Dave off his back and carted him off to meat market, didn't he?
Yeah, he's a meat man, isn't he? The thing is, though, it would have been a good setup for Dave, though, because you think about it, he probably would have fought Dubois, and then he probably would have fought Gorman, and he could have lost them too, and they probably would have still had the David Adelaide fight as well. Frank would have probably put him in there as like a bringing on fight for David Adelaide, and them three fights, Dave could have been out, couldn't he? He could have been like made enough money to just leave it and just call it a day. He could have been out with a bag full of money, couldn't he? But agreed.
I don't know what's going on inside Dave Allen's head. I don't know. I think that there's something not right in his head. To knock that kind of money back, to even tell Eddie Hearn about it. Anyway, why do you tell Eddie Hearn about it? You haven't got a deal with him. Why are you ringing him up saying, "Oh, I just want to show loyalty to Matchroom"? Why are you doing that? He hasn't shown loyalty to you. He would fuck you with a broom handle as look at you. Eddie Hearn don't care for fighters. Warren don't. They don't get emotionally involved.
Do you think he fights Barrick? Do you think it happens that?
I think it's probably further away now than ever after Eddie Hearn's interview this week.
Yeah. No, see that was the fight they were hinting at. Dave kept hinting at it on social media, and obviously Barrick he just said bring it on sort of thing. But surely that fight couldn't get sanctioned. They've put Alan Barrick in there with him, punch it Dave upside down, wouldn't he? Probably. I mean, Dave. We know Dave's a talented fighter, but surely, Babbitt, he comes out and gives people hell, you know what I mean? And surely I think it could end up hurting Dave.
I hope
You know
Dave
what I mean?
just fuck out that Babbitt. I don't like him.
Well, I do. You know, I don't like Babbitt. I think he's, he's taken over from what Dave was at Matchroom. Entertainment. You know, the comedy piece of the cards, and it'll be the same again on Saturday night. It'll be last time out he was proposing to his missus post fight, and this time I'm sure there'll be something else. But
Babbitt's 15 minutes now, isn't it? Dave's had his 15. It's Babbitt's 15 now, isn't it?
It's Babbitt's turn now. Yeah, Babbitt's turn. And he's going to stay in the fold by the looks of it because he's signed with Dillian White. So it looks like he isn't going away anytime soon, is he?
No, he's hanging around like a fucking bad smell, isn't he, that Babbitt? You need to fucking off.
Yeah. It's, still against a TBA. They've not announced his opponent yet. I'm sure he'll have a losing record.
They might dig Mark Bennett up for him, or Snowy, Darren Snow.
Yeah. It wouldn't surprise me, but this goes back to, what we was talking about, the quality assurance on these shows are absolutely piss. You know what I mean? They're absolutely dire.
Hello to Chris Rocky.
We're in Rocky. He's not running away again.
No, if I take him out sometimes over at Farmers Fields or golf course, tries to jog on.
Yeah.
But we've had a bit of chat, haven't we, Rocky, about you being MIA. He's missing in action, doesn't he? Might be trying to get a bird,
Yeah.
I don't let him near other dogs,
Do you not?
Only dog that's ever been in this house. When I lived at Conisborough, Dennis says, can you give me a lift to airport? I went, yeah. They come to my house. Dennis's missus and kids and all that, and mother-in-law come to my house, and Dennis went there in the car. We went to airport. I thought, we're going to airport. So I got to airport, and I've come back with a car. And I thought, there's a dog here. I think I'm going to end up copping for dog for 2 weeks. I had Dennis's dog. It was a Yorkie Pro, a lovely dog called Michigan. What it did, it sent Rocky mad. I had to get him to see somebody, not counselling, like just, I think his head had gone because he didn't like another dog in the house.
Yeah, some dogs are like that though. Some dogs can be funny though, when their owner shows affectionate to like another dog.
He kept going like that, and I kept having to hold him. And because Michigan were about, he was a puppy, she was a bit immature, like bouncing about all over, eight mad eyes he had. And it's what's the word now? The dogs are territorial, aren't they? So if another dog's in the house, they're not going to like it, are they? And plus Michigan went and had a turnout in my daughter's bed. Do you know what I mean? And it chewed something as well, I think. That I love the dog, but that didn't go down well. So I caught for that dinner. 2 weeks worth of Dennis's dog. Could have been worse. Could have been that Alsatian that AJ Hobson's got up in scrapyard. Jesus.
They are harmful.
One of them guard dogs, yeah. But now he's all right. He's over Michigan now, aren't you, Rocky Mikus? Yeah.
So on the topic of boxing this weekend, Chisora Parker, what's your thoughts of the press conference antics with Chisora yesterday?
I think Chisora's a dick, and he needs to fuck off out the sport of boxing. Why is he hanging around boxing? How many losses has he got him? 12.
12 losses now, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, 12.
But what people keep saying, like Terry Chappendama's just said to me, he's just topping his pension up. He's all right, Del boy. I said, he's a dick, right?
Yeah.
12 losses. And what we've got now is we've got boxers that are famous just for being famous. Derek Chisora, nobody can tell me a fucking good win he's had in recent times, can they? And don't say Takan.
No.
He's not achieved anything of recent note. And they said he were finished after Caballero, didn't they? Really finished. Even Fury said that. Now Fury's saying he'll fight him again and all this. Look, these people, they get it. He's a boxer, but they get social media. Like Dave Allen, he gets it. He's always playing mental games and not mental games. Dave Allen and Chisora, Tyson Fury, They get it, don't they? Social media.
Yeah.
They're always putting something out or some tea, or there's always something happening that's something interesting or funny, and they keep.
And they know how to manipulate it.
Oh, then there's only Tyson doing all about it, isn't there? Chisora's not beating anybody. Dave Allen's too inactive, and he's missed the boat now, and it's his own fault. Harsh reality. Tough kid, and showed a lot of promise when he was first with Dennis. Not dedicated, bad trainer, and he says things for effect, but sometimes digs his sen in an hole, doesn't he?
Yeah, it catches up with you.
It catches up with you, and I just think that Derek Chisora is a bit like that. He's what's the word? He's become like a WWE cartoon character. They wheel him out, and you don't know what's going to happen. Even at press conferences, it's like a playground to him, isn't it? People are all on edge around him and all this and that, and there's this aura about him that he's trying to create. It's a pity you can't fucking have that aura ring, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? That he has when he's walking around and, you know, trying his one-liners and all that. Derek, fuck off. You're shot to pieces.
Yeah. I mean, it's the usual, you know, Del Boy antics on fight week where, you know, he turns up to the press conference, you know, fight week, and he does something stupid. You know, we've had, you know, it's just, we got these, he does it every time, you know. What was it last time? He said he was not going to fight. He said he was going to go home. He weren't going to fight. And his mum came and saved the day, weren't it? You know, and it's every time he's got to do something. I feel like it's almost like he gets put up to it to create a bit of interest going into the actual fight. And it's just getting boring now, you know. I used to like Chisora. He's entertaining to watch, but at this point, he doesn't bring anything to the table, and he's definitely past it. You know, you say when Cabell beat him in Monaco that he was done, but they were saying he was done when Hay flogged him all them years ago. They were saying he was done long before that. You know what I mean? And now all of a sudden, it's you know, Eddie's saying, you know, if Parker can make quick work of him and knock him out in fantastic style, you know, he's going to be on, you know, the back burners for a world title. And so apparently now beating somebody who's got 12 losses, who really isn't a big player in the heavyweight scene. Apparently, if you beat him now in good style, you're going to get a, you know, one-way ticket to a world title shot, according to Eddie. That's what Eddie was saying. So what sense does that make?
Oh, Chisora.
Yeah, it's Chisora. No, Eddie said if Parker beats Chisora in fantastic style or whatever he was saying, it was like Parker's going to be in line for a world title shot. Yeah,
not for a bit though.
I know, yeah, but this is what Eddie's saying though. He's making it out like if he beats Chisora, that's it. He's going to be in line for one.
Chisora, surely not. A bit. It's not even a good win for Parker, former world champion, who's already beat him once.
Exactly.
Derek's gone.
Exactly. But Chisora's best title was the European one.
European donkeys years ago, 10 years
exactly,
ago.
Exactly, yeah, exactly. So realistically, that just shows the level of, you know, of Derek. And Derek, you know, we've said it for a while now. Even when he was fighting Dillian White all them years ago, he's a gatekeeper now. And realistically, beating Derek Chisora doesn't warrant, you know, being in line for a world title. Why can they not put, you know, Parker in with somebody like Hughie Fury, let him fight him again? You know, because Hughie's at that level. Hughie's on brink of world title level. Why not put him in with somebody like that? Why Chisora? I mean, me and you know, Hughie Fury versus Joseph Parker is a lot better fight than Chisora versus Parker, isn't that? But you know what? Why can these fights not get made? It's just, to me, it's pitiful that they put him back in for a rematch as well, because the first one was bad enough. So why would they need to do it a second time?
Because it's Derek War Chisora, isn't it?
World War II.
He's World War II. He's an unpredictable character, and he's got an aura about him and all that crap.
But it'll be the same thing though after the fight, though. You know, he'll lose, and then post-fight, he'll be in Joseph Parker's dressing room having cheeseburgers with him. It's the same story, isn't it? You know what I mean? Just replay it over and over and over and over again. It's just boring now. It's boring.
Is anybody even going to that fight, Parker Chisora?
I mean, like I said, I'm going to it for a big piss up with my mates, but apart from that, I can't see it. I probably won't have done well on tickets. To be fair, I don't think it's sold out. So I mean, if they can't sell out Manchester Arena, then it shows where it's at boxing, especially when Khan and Brook just got announced and they're both shot to pieces and they sold it out in 10 minutes, didn't they? Or it just shows where boxing's at, but it's not exactly an enthralling card. You've got Spider Riches versus, there's Congra, you've got Alan Babick, TBA, and you've got Zelfa Barrett versus Teramo, whatever that is. And, they had Boazzi on the card as well, and they pulled Boazzi off about 3 weeks ago, something like that. And to me, the card, it's just not really that interesting, realistically. And I'm going to it, and it's like, end of the day, it's more of just like a piss up. It's not really an interesting card. This compared to cards of past, it's absolutely dire.
Is there any women fighting on it?
I think there is a women fight. I don't know who's fighting though. I'm pretty sure there's one women fight on it though, but I don't know who it is.
What do you think about Tyson Fury against Dillian White if it comes off?
Well, for one, I don't think it will come off. Because I think even if it does come off, I think if it goes to purse bids, Dillian White's going to get severely lowballed by Tyson. And I think if it does happen, I just think Tyson plays with him. I just don't think Dillian White's at that level. I think Dillian White missed the boat 2 years ago when he passed the fight with Joshua at Wembley. And obviously Joshua, went and fought Andy Ruiz in New York and the rest is history, isn't it? But I think that was Dillian White's chance to get a world title. I don't think he beats Tyson. I think Tyson plays with him and stops him, if I'm being completely honest. I just don't think Dillian White's at that level. Skillfully, he's just not there. And I think Tyson plays with him. I think he gets hit too easily, and I think Tyson will just jab his head off. I don't think it's a hard night's work for Tyson. I think he makes quick work of him, to be completely honest with you. If you fight, even fighting like he did against Wilder a few months ago, I think even that will get him over the line against White. I just don't think he's at that level, White. I think he's fringe world level, but he doesn't beat these top lads, like these elite guys like Fury and Usyk. I think you put him in with AJ, he gives him an hard night's work and probably beats him. You put him in with Wilder, I think Wilder puts him out cold just because I just think that Wilder just catch him. But you know what I mean? It's just, I can't see Dillian White win a world title now.
Do you like the Parker fight against Wilder?
Against Wilder? Parker versus Wilder? I think Wilder punches him in orbit. I think Wilder punches everybody in orbit except Usyk and Fury, just because they probably know how to handle him. Just because they're unskillfully, they're on a different level to everybody else. I think if Wilder fought AJ, I think he'd knock AJ out, like just absolutely spark him out. You know what I mean? Yeah. So it's one of them. I think Wilder's like third best heavyweight in the world. I think you'd have to put Fury first. Usyk a close second. That's a 50-50 of them to ever fight. And you probably put third Wilder, just because whoever you put in front of Wilder is just going to knock him out cold, isn't it, realistically?
He's a beast, Wilder.
Yeah, well, that's it, and we had all these years, we had Eddie, ripping into him, saying, no, he wasn't very good and skillfully he wasn't very good. Listen, it doesn't matter what he hasn't got and listen, it doesn't matter. He gets the win at the end of the day and he does it and he knocks people out. Unlike AJ, getting the ref to jump in and wave it off. Like they did against Carl Takam, poor stoppages like that.
He's dropped
Deontay Wilder knocks him out cold.
He's dropped everybody he's fought, hasn't he?
Yeah. He's dropped everybody. It's like, you go back to you look at the fights with Ortiz, he was behind on them cards and he pulled out, these mesmerizing knockouts, especially the second one. He practically looked like he didn't put any power into that shot and it just knocked him out cold. And even with Fury in the third fight, he was down and he got back up in the next round. He dropped Fury twice in one round. It's like, I can't see any other heavyweight out there doing that to Fury. I couldn't see Dillian White dropping Fury. You know what I mean?
Dillian White's got a good left hook though, hasn't
he? Yeah, we can't discredit Dillian White. He's got a good left hook, but realistically, when everybody's knocked out with that left hook have been subpar level. They've not been at world level. You look at the Daddy Brown knockout. Daddy Brown, late 40s. They pulled him off the sofa. You've got Povetkin he not Povetkin out after Povetkin already dusted him, you know, and it's just like the list goes on and on. We've already been through it all. We don't need to go through it again. But Dillian White, he's not beating anybody at a genuine like top tier heavyweight. And
Parker's
people would
best
say,
win, isn't it?
yeah, Parker's his best win, but realistically, is Parker even European level?
No, British level.
Got gifted a world title, didn't he, against Ruiz? We know that.
Him against Delbo is a British level against English stroke British. That's what I think Derek is at the moment.
Yeah. Well, you'd have to, the way I look at it is this, right? Who holds the European title now? Is it still Joe Joyce, or does he give it up?
I don't even know, mate. I think he's give it up on it.
Is give it up? But let's just say, for example, right, Joe Joyce is European level. Would Parker or sorry, my head's gone there. Who's on about then? That's it. Dillian White. Would Dillian White beat Joyce, or would Joseph Parker beat Joe Joyce? Neither of them would they?
No, Joyce is up there, mate.
Yeah, he's up there, isn't he?
They don't call Joyce that, do they? None of these lot, do they?
No. Well, they would say it just doesn't make financial sense to fight Joe Joyce. But for me, me and you, we know, Joe Joyce is a handful, and if somebody like Joe Joyce, who he's not a big talker, Joe Joyce. He don't put himself out there, doing interviews. His manager might do, but Joe Joyce don't. And if Joe Joyce goes in there, it's game over for the pair of them, isn't it? He punches through him. He's an handful. And, I think he's going to, in the years to come, he's going to be a seriously avoided Joe Joyce.
Yeah.
Because who wants him? He's one of them. He's on that list of, who wants him club. Like Huey's. I mean, like Huey's a handful. He's in that club, the list of who wants him, and it's one of them, because they don't spout their mouth off, and they're not working social media constantly, they're not a big draw as such in like the public eye, but these lads can fight, you know what I mean?
Yeah. I just think that Huey just needs a bit of luck with matchmaking now with Sky.
Yeah, I think is with half the time. The thing is with Fury though, Huey though, is like Matchroom didn't do him any favors. They didn't match him favorably. They didn't bring him on. They just chucked him at ring straight away, like with Povetkin. When realistically, like they should have eased him into a fight like that. You could. I mean, look how they put Dillian White. They put him in with all these old timers, and now Dillian White's knocking on for a world title. And then they threw Huey in straight away with him. And, and when Huey, don't forget, when Huey lost to Povetkin, he didn't get iced by Povetkin, did he?
No,
exactly. But Dillian White, he gets iced, but he gets the rematch, and now he's knocking on the door for a world title. But hopefully Sky, Sky are not stupid. They'll know how to bring him on. And, hopefully Huey gets a bit of luck, and hopefully late next year we can see him pushing the envelope for a world title, you know what I mean?
Yeah. What do you think about the Conor Benn situation last weekend?
Oh mate, it's just I've got it jotted down. It's just absolutely dire, this Conor Benn situation. Listen, the way I look at it is this, right? Eddie Hearn can't come out saying Chris Algieri years ago couldn't knock a skin off a rice pudding, but all of a sudden when Conor Benn beats him, he's a Roman killer, and Conor Benn's ready for a world title and this and that. And then you've got Tony Bellew saying, oh, he ices everybody except Crawford and Spence, and, saying he'd beat Avanesian. Listen, Conor Benn couldn't lay a glove on David Avanesian. David Avanesian just punches him upside down. We can't say Conor Benn's he's not improved. He has improved quite clearly, he's looks a bit more skillful on Saturday, but he's not at that level yet. And when it does come to it, unless they put him in with somebody who's not even got a pulse for a world title, I can't see him beating any of them top dogs. The top level, I think they beat him all. I think they all beat him. I just don't think he's at that level. I think he's probably at the level now where he should be fighting Avanesian. I think any other fight apart from Avanesian, the fans are just going to spit it out. But they're talking about Adrian Broner now. They're on about bringing Adrian Broner out of retirement to fight Conor Benn. Who would want to see that?
He's fat as a pig, Michelin man with a big beard, looks like a terrorist. Have you seen him?
I know. Yeah, he's like Adrian Broner. You know, once upon a time was meant to be, you know, he was the prodigy, wasn't he? He was meant to be, you know, he was meant to be the carry on to Floyd Mayweather, but all of a sudden dropped off, didn't he? Maidana put him into orbit, and the rest is history, isn't it?
Yeah, he's ended up on Skid Row, mate.
Yeah.
He's done
Well, he started
field, hasn't he, with loads of kids and all that, and
yeah. He's messed it all up. I mean, it was going around like rapping and doing tours like rapping, and it took away from his boxing career. And you know, when you get beat, you can only get beat so many times at that top level, and then people just switch off, don't they? And I mean, for me, when he came back and fought Pacquiao, I mean, that against Pacquiao was embarrassing, and I just think ever since then that was it. The game was up, and I mean, if they drag Adrian Broner out of retirement now for Conor Benn, I mean, it's just going to be an absolute circus, isn't it? I mean, it's a circus as it is anyway, but if they do that, that is scraping the barrel.
Adrian Broner in UK.
Once in a life, they'd tell it as once in a lifetime, wouldn't they?
Eddie Hearn would be straight stuck up Broner, wouldn't he, if he could promote him?
Yeah. But the thing is, though, I can't see it happening because, you know, I mean, I've got it jotted down here. The zone, they look like they're done in America now. Do you not think? I can't see it. Yeah, it looks like they've been froze out now, doesn't it?
Yeah,
that's what it looks like to me, anyway.
Eddie will be on.
They froze him out.
Money now in America.
Yeah, well, it's his own fault, though. You know, he went over. You know, he started running his mouth. You know, he rubbed everybody up the wrong way, and you know, the serious players in America, and they've all like, it looks to me like they've all like put their heads together and was like, right, we're gonna freeze him out, and that's what looks like what's happened to me.
Leonard Ellaby. He wants to dust
yeah, well, I texted, didn't I? The Iceman wants to come out of retirement to fight Leonard Ellaby, doesn't he? The Iceman.
Yeah. Leonard Ellaby, remind me if I ever see him at a show. Not that I will, but if I do, and he's in UK, not to say, hey, Lenny, you fancy a cheeky one in toilets? Because if you passed him a bag with them nostrils he's got, mate, he'd deal with that, wouldn't
he? He's got a nose that's like a Volkswagen Beetle.
You wouldn't like to think you're passing him a bag, would you? You'd be like,
no.
Oh, left in it. You get a magnifying glass.
Like a Dyson Hoover, mate. But you know, we gotta give a bit of respect to Leonard Ellaby. You know, he come out, he called Eddie out on his bullshit. You know, and gotta give him respect for that.
Only people who give Leonard Ellaby respect are people who serve him coke because he buys that much. He's got a raging habit. Could you imagine him getting his head down on a glass table?
Kilos at a time, mate. Not by the bags, by the kilos, mate.
Hey?
Good old Leonard Ellaby. So obviously, like the Conor Benn situation, where do you think he should go next? Do you think he should fight Avanesian? Yeah.
Yeah, I think he should fight Avanesian Conor Benn. But getting back to Leonard Ellaby, it's a funny story.
Go
on. Do you know why Eddie's unpopular in America? Because he rubs them all up wrong ways, and he's a bit of a wind-up, a bit of a cheeky chappy.
Yeah.
They don't get it like we do. You know, their sense of humor over there.
Yeah, their sense of humor is completely different. Yeah.
I mean, Eddie Hearn, see, I've been to a show in America. Everybody's having a hot dog and nobody's clapping. There's no Sweet Caroline and all that. It's just a load of fat people eating hot dogs and pizzas and popcorn and get your popcorn ready, just taking it piss. Now, when he goes up to people like Schaefer or Leonard Ellaby, Eddie always has to comment. This is what he's like. People who know Eddie Hearn or have met him will comment, will agree with me on this. Whenever Eddie Hearn goes up to somebody or he sees them at a presser or whatever, hey up mate, how are you doing? He always has to have a comment about what they're wearing because he wants to take control of the situation and being on as that's just what he likes. He likes to be known as funny chap, doesn't he? And joke.
Yeah.
Now, a few times I've heard people say that he said to Leonard Ellaby, how are we doing, Lenny? How are you doing, Lenny? Are you all right? That's a bit of a rascal coat, that, isn't it? Oh, look at them cheeky. That's a cheeky number, them shoes you've got on, or something like that. Coming out with that Essex slang, but they don't get it. So they'll ask other people, what's he on about? He said this to me, and then they'll say, oh, he's just taking piss out, yeah. You won't even know what taking piss means, will it, Yang? So that's
No.
it. But I think, and what Eddie done, he'd overdone it like Shirley Winkle. You know, Shirley Winkle, Shelley Finkel.
Yeah, Shelley Finkel, yeah.
He was digging him out constantly. Lou DiBella. These are stalwarts that were been in game years. Lou DiBella was head honcho at HBO in 90s.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? He was sitting down with Don King and putting big deals together when Mike Tyson come out of prison and all that kind of carry on.
Yeah. Serious players, man. He's rubbed them up all the wrong way. It's his own fault. He's got only himself to blame. You know, coming out constantly on interviews, like you said with Shelley Finkel, call him Shelley Winkle, constantly, and it's only himself to blame. You know, he's the reason that these big fights haven't been made. You know, with AJ versus Wilder, he's the reason. It's nobody else. It's like the Khan versus Brook thing. You know, he'd been trying to make it for 10 years, Eddie, but all of a sudden, as soon as Eddie's out of the fold, Sky get it over the line within months.
Madness, isn't it?
We know exactly. We know who the problem is. It's him.
What do you think about Brook versus
Khan Brook? Well, it's like, I mean, I'm not going to come on here and be hypocritical. You know, I said it was a busted flush, and it was past its sell-by date. But now it's been made. You know, I still feel the same way, but I probably will watch it. You know, just because it's the pure hype. You know, the fight, and you know, I'm not the only one, because the fact they sold out Manchester Arena shows that people are interested in it. But you know, it should have happened years ago, and I'm disappointed it's taken till now for it to come get across the line. But they finally got it done. I'm just curious to see what happens. I'm pretty sure Khan's going to take it, but you know, it's one of them. It'll be a little bit of a spectacle, but it's well past its sell-by date. It should have happened years ago, messing the fans about. You know what I mean? But they're both at that point in the career where, you know, where does Kel go? Where does Khan go? You know, the like paths have come together, and that's it now. There was nowhere else for him left to go, and it's on now, isn't it?
I just think that how it's been dealt with has been bad, in my opinion. It's in bad taste. It shouldn't be a pay-per-view fight, and I can understand they're both top ex-world champions and being at top of the game, but it's got pension fight written all over it and abuse at fans on it.
Yeah. Yeah, like I said, this is what I mean. It's well past its sell-by date. It should have happened years ago when they were in the primes. But, you know, for me, the way I look at it is like, Khan is always, it's like I can see where he's never wanted to give Kel that payday, and like, you know, Khan out of the two of them, Khan's obviously the bigger name. You know, he's beat more world champions, beat something like 11 world champions, don't he? And it's like, you know, Kel can't just stand up to that on paper, and it's like, you could never say Khan was like avoiding him, because every time Khan would go fight somebody else, it were a bigger name than Brook. You know, he would go and fighting like the likes of, you know, Terence Crawford. He went and fought Canelo. You can't say he's avoiding like Khan. You can't say he's Khan's avoiding Kel when he's going fighting people like Canelo, can you?
No.
But like I said, you know, they've taken the mickey, but they've got it over the line now. But I feel like Eddie's probably partly to blame, the fact it's taken so long to be made, because he was the man in charge of it all, and he was the man who was supposed to be getting it on and getting it over the line. And obviously, like I said, as soon as Eddie's out of the picture, Sky get it done, don't they? You know, Bean gets it over the line.
How did Bean pull that off, man? I'm telling you, Bean.
I told you, listen.
Should have been, never been, baked bean, creepy bean, beanie.
Told you what, the text you had months ago. I said Bean's leading the comeback charge, and the comeback is on, mate. It's on, and it's on in full force now, mate. In the new year, mate. Sky going to be making big moves, I think.
Could you imagine? We'd have to change his name to the Bean Father, wouldn't we? Instead of just Bean, the Bean Father.
Bean's on at darts at the minute. Have you not heard him on at the darts?
People keep texting me saying that he's ruining darts. Is he?
I don't think he's ruining it. I think, you know, he's not that. To be fair, mate, I've never really minded Bean as a commentator. I think he's annoying at times, because sometimes he just doesn't shut up. But he's not actually doing too bad at the darts. I'll send you some clips later and let you have a listen to it. They're all right. He's not too bad. It's not as his vocabulary isn't the same as when he's on the boxing. You know, we got Beam Bingo. We got the list of his normal sayings. You know, sizzling, rough, rugged. His game.
A cacophony of noise.
And the Blue Ribbon Division. You know, we've got the usual.
It's good to have the Blue Ribbon Division back, Matt.
And my all-time favourite. Are you ready for liftoff?
Are you ready for liftoff? Is that what Bean says when he gets in bed at night? They laughs. Are you ready for liftoff, love?
Yeah, but we know what Bean is. You know, like I said, I think Bean's on the comeback trail now. And I mean, you know, Sky, I said this months ago when we talked about it. You know, when the Zone, Eddie went to the Zone. Like Sky it's the winning formula. Sky and Sky Sports, it's the winning formula. As if the Zone, it's like a bit shaky. And if they can't get their hands on football, the Zone, then they're right up shit creek, I think.
You know, Bean, right? Bean, I can explain it. I knew he was a dickhead, right? When he came on ringside years ago, and Larry Holmes were there also, and Bean said, "Yeah, I remember the great days from the 70s. I got a dictaphone one Christmas, and I remember walking around the playground at school. This is in, can you imagine walking around playground right at school?" And he's going, "Down goes Frazier, down goes Frazier. You're blowing it, son, you're blowing it." You know, like Angelo Dundee to Ray Leonard. And Bean were coming out with all these one-liners and nobody got it. They were all like, what is he coming out with? But Bean in his head got it. And I think I got it that he's a complete weapon.
Well, he just looks at sort of place, you know, he's such a, how can I put it? He just stands out like a sore thumb. He's just such a like different character in such a cool sport. You know what I mean? He stands out like a sore thumb. It
looks like one of geeks that have gate crashed cool kids party at school. Don't you know? Like, I don't like to say this, but when I was at school, I was a Dougie. Well, not a Dougie, but I didn't like the biology, chemistry, and physics. I used to sit there with my arms folded because I didn't like it. And RE. So I got put in this group called the science class. And it were basically, and some of my mates will be watching this because I was out with him yesterday. It was just a load of delinquents, right? Just delinquents once a week that just sit in this class. And eventually what they did, they used to let everybody ride around school on this moped. The teacher would let everybody use this moped and they go up and down and all that. Why? I don't know. You'd never get away with that nowadays. But 1984, 85, so 85. Flying up and down on this moped. I don't know if it's because they're like 15-year-old. I don't know. They used to go round Edlington Comprehensive on this moped, and the class, what science class, but we never did anything in science. All we did was just like a youth club. And it was because we were delinquents, Dougies. And that's like being gate crashing into that because it was seen as like it was cool to be in science. Oh, we're in science class, we're cool. It were fucking delinquents, a load of Dougies, thickos that are just anti-establishment. That's what it were. Now one of them, one at thickos, but people thought it were cool to be in that class. But and it'd be like being stumbling into that class, being kicked out at biology lesson for doing some a grade A student. He'd be like him coming into that class. I'd be like, "Come here, you," and get him like that, twist his ear. So you're that guy with dictaphone, aren't you? I said, start do some commentary.
You're like lunch money.
Yeah. Oh no, I'd have had that at gate, man, at 8:45, mate. Forget that, mate. I won't even need to ask. I just come put it on my desk. But no, being for me, I know we gave him loads of stick in that, but if he shut his mouth, I might be able to like him. Do you know what I mean? But he doesn't shut up when fighters are in ring. I don't want to hear him going on about nonsense, because if you watch the great fights from the 70s, you don't hear commentators going on about stamp book collections, tattoo designs on the. He's got a spider's web design ready to go on his elbow next week, Johnny. Who gives a fuck about some of his tattoos, a journeyman?
Yeah, but the thing is, though, I think the thing is with Bean, he tries to bring the sport of boxing alive, doesn't he? He tries to, touch into, what's going on outside the ring as well as what's going in the ring. But can't disagree with you. It's bloody annoying, but we got to wish him well, because if he can put Eddie Hearn out of a job, then we're Team Bean, aren't we?
We are Team Bean at the moment, but he'll do something to annoy me this weekend.
Yeah, there'll be something. You just got to watch the darts, Porky, and you'll like that. You listen to him on darts.
You watch darts?
Yeah, I watch darts. Yeah.
Big shout out to Ben from Eastwood Autos and Ash from Eastwood Autos. Hope you have a good evening tonight at the Cash Alley fight. Give him a big shout out. It's next door to my factory, innit?
Yeah. So obviously, we've touched on a bit of everything there. One thing we haven't touched on is Tommy Fury, Jake Paul situation. What's your opinion on it? And where do you think Tommy goes from here?
I keep seeing all these press releases and comments from Big John Fury, big fighting man in the ring on the hard road. We keep hearing John Fury's saying that some bloke, 17 stones, bare knuckled Tommy at ribs. And then there's other stuff with John Fury saying something totally different and Tommy saying something different. So it's like a whodunit, isn't it? There's that much lies going around. Nobody knows who to believe. But so this is what I say. I don't believe out they say anything. And even when fights are announced, I believe it when they're in the ring. I just don't believe out they say, because they can't lie straight in bed. None of that lot, can they?
No. We knew it weren't going to happen, though, because it was just getting later and later, and he still hadn't gone to America. And then all of a sudden, we're 2 weeks out. He's still not in America. We know like a lot of British fighters who go over to America, they go at least, like 2-3 weeks out, get acclimatized to it. And then you even got Tyson, who goes out months prior to his fight, and he stops over, for a few months leading up to the fight. So he's well acclimatized, to the time difference, the climate. And, we were getting weeks out from the fight, and Tommy's still not gone over. And then all of a sudden it came out, that, he pulled from the fight. And I can't say I'm surprised. He's following the trend of Tyson at times of just being a messer, you know what I mean? And he's ruined it for himself now, because I don't think he'll ever get that shot again. I don't think Jake Paul ever gave him that shot again, because, Tommy could have been the one to beat Jake Paul. Well, he should have beaten Jake Paul, but on paper I say that. But personally, I didn't think he was going to beat him. I thought Jake Paul would have probably been a bit too much for him, because Tommy's last fight, it wasn't exactly a performance to be desired, was it?
You know what I personally think why they didn't take the fight?
Go on.
Weight issues, because it fines with weight.
Really?
He had him tied down on a contract where for every pound over, they had to pay X amount. And I think they were looking at the situation and thought, let's build this fight up a bit more and we'll get him down the line. And that's what I think, because we're not going to fight now because we don't feel 100%, and plus Tommy's weight's not right. That's what I think.
Possibly, yeah.
We're down to money with them. Tommy's not going to turn his nose about that money. Oh, father.
True.
He'll be having some out of the job, father. So I think what they've done, they've played the playing game and hoping that down the line it's a bigger fight.
Yeah. Thing is, though, where does Tommy go from here now? Because I feel like if Tommy steps up his level of opponents, he may get beat, and then all of a sudden the Jake Paul fight isn't on the table. Then is it?
Does Tommy win an area belt at light heavy?
Match right, yeah, but I can't see him going past British level. I think British levels is max. I can't see him going past that at all. But again, we know what Frank's like. He's sneaky, Frank with his matchmaking. He could get him in there. Well, they might go down the trinket route, but realistically, they have to watch what they're doing with Tommy now, because if they match him wrong and he loses, then that fight's gone completely. You know, so they're walking on eggshells now, aren't they?
Oh yeah.
No.
They're walking on eggshells now, but they'll have to do what Jake Paul says now, because he looks like he's not going to give another chance, doesn't he?
Yeah, well, that's it. Jake Paul's put himself in a situation now where he's in control, and you know he's holding all the aces, isn't he? And I don't know. To be honest with you, I can't. I mean, I didn't think it was going to happen even when it was announced. I thought there'd be something in the lead up to the fight, and there was obviously, but I just can't see it happening. You know, I mean, and we got to give as much discredit and hate as Jake Paul gets. I feel like we've got to give him a bit of credit, because he wasn't the one who pulled out the fight, were he? He was ready, and you know he's still fighting this weekend. They replaced him, Tommy, with that Tyrone Woodley, you know, for another fight. So he has to be given Jake Paul, because he wasn't the one who pulled out. It was Tommy who pulled out. And obviously, with all the stories coming out, you know, John's taking us round the roundabout of lies. You know, keeps telling us all this stuff. John, just keep it button, mate. I've already ripped into you, pal. Just keep it short, pal. It's just absolutely, you ruin it. The thing is, he's ruining it for Tommy, though, isn't he?
Big John Fury, big fighting man. I live alone, I train alone, I win the title alone. Can't duck me forever, he can run, but he can't hide. And you ain't got a caravan like me. Pop, pop, bang, end of fun.
I always say the hardest man on the hardest road.
Do you and your mates go to the pub and do John Fury impressions?
No, no. We do. To be fair, I do. My mate who I train with, we always do it when we're going for like a big deadlifting session. We'll always just like before a big lift, we'll always go, just make sure you turn up.
Yeah. Oh god.
A tribute to the big man himself, you know, considering that John's such an inspiration when it comes to his training regime, and he won't be matched by anybody over 50, and he'll be willing to prove it for free or for money.
Yeah, and 140 kilo bench press, 8 reps, cold, and that would be before me stew on the hot fire. Pop, pop, bang. 275 kilo deadlift with me Corey.
Yeah, don't forget the 10 miles he runs every morning as well.
Bare feet. I run it bare feet. And before I go up punch bag, when I get back, I put my hands in petrol, soak them in petrol. What?
Oh.
100,000 pound bare knuckle champion, 1992. I can't, for the love of me, I can't remember the man's name, but I put him into orbit.
Who were it against, John? I don't know. I can't remember his name.
You have an interview with Sun newspaper, and they say, "Oh, fight for 100 grand," and he's like, "Oh, I can't remember the man's name. 100 grand, you're fighting something, you don't remember his name. What? Like, it's not bullshit or banter, it's blatant fucking lying. Charlatans, mate. Charlatans. Vagabonds, mate. I've never heard no like it.
Fantasy Island.
Down on the hard road.
But the thing is, though, John, he had his chance to prove it when Mickey Theo stood up to the plate, and John had his chance, and you know, even when he rang Max up and said they were gonna come down to Mickey Theo's car wash, and they didn't turn up. Max was sliding in a turn up way down M1 with me, you know. It was sad. Oh, Max. Keep sliding up and down. Like, you're not shitting your pants, are you? He filled his nappy. Thing is, though, what's it called? I think like you knew they weren't going to turn up. I know. I know. Yeah, you knew they weren't going to turn up. I know. John had been on the old Bazza, either at whiskey or at Stella's. Had a few drinks and felt a bit brave. And thought they could, you know, ring Max up and pick on him, but no, they made a mug out themselves, mate. And John, well, they didn't anyway, because you don't want a load of travellers coming down to a car pitch, because that car pitch Mick's got down there, there's 3 other ones that he rents out on his land.
and there's one of them, I think, it's Toyota, and there would have been a right melee, wouldn't there? Them lot down.
Yeah, I can imagine. Yeah, so it's for the best they didn't come down, but you can't say you're going to do something and then don't. But at the end of the day, we're accustomed to it now because John, don't forget when we take the mick out of John, it's not stuff we're making up and saying. This is everything that this man has said. It's all come from his mouth. He said it himself. So at the end of the day, he's got all
comment section. They've got these shithouses, right? That's what they are, shithouses. Fury Power diehards will send me questions now going on about you're digging John out again. Listen, if you want to put yourself in public eye like John has, shout your mouth off about boxing and things surrounding boxing that's utter bullshit, and I don't agree with it. When that ice breaks, I will be underneath it. Let me tell you.
Yeah.
If you don't like it, fucking tough shit.
Yeah. I mean, we can say the same with Tyson. Tyson shouts his mouth off, but the difference is with Tyson, he backs it up.
Yeah, it can back it up, can't he? And get away
exactly,
with it.
Exactly, as if John was still waiting for him to back it up for free or for money.
Well, he's been out of jail 7 years, not had a fight yet. So he's most inactive fighting man in the world, isn't he?
Don't forget, he loves to fight. He's just done 12 years for a fight.
He did 4.5, mate, and they were Cat D's as well. And that. So 12.5 with 4.5. He's got a bit confused. His 12s with his 4s, hasn't he?
Don't forget, mate, he said it. It weren't me who said it, it was him who said it.
Sentenced to 9 years. He were 11 years, reduced on appeal to 9. He did 4.5. So what was he getting 12? I've just served 12. You haven't served 12 years. He's just done 4.5.
So he said, I've done 12 years for a fight. I love to fight, he said.
It weren't a fight though, what he had really, was it? Let's have it right. It was just somebody that fucking knocked him out at a car auction over a small man. That ain't a fight, is it? That's not in his head, he might think it's fucking bare knuckler. But getting somebody a good hiding at a car wash, that's not a fight, is it? If a guy comes up there on you.
Just an incident, isn't it?
Well, if you're a foot taller than a man and about 8 stone heavier than him, you got a big advantage on him, haven't you? For starters, haven't you? Once you get out of him,
yeah,
isn't it? So,
true.
But what's your fights you want to see next year, Chris? We'll finish off on this question.
For me, there's 3 fights I want to see. I want to see Usyk and Fury. I want to see Crawford versus Spence, and I want to see Canelo versus Beterbiev.
Canelo versus Beterbiev, yeah.
Yeah, Beterbiev. And I think if you was going to ask me for just like British fights, I want to see Callum Johnson versus Anthony Yard. I want to see probably say like Lyndon Arthur versus like sort of like a Richards, like. But you could even say Buatsi. I mean, Lyndon Arthur. They don't stoke him up as a big puncher, but I'd still think I'd put him down to beat Buatsi. I just think Buatsi's just not kicked on. He's just not kicked on like he should have done. You know what I mean? So yeah, I think Lyndon Arthur or even Anthony Yard versus Buatsi, make it happen. Callum Johnson as well. Hopefully, he can do the business on Joe Smith Jr. and bring a belt back home. That means Britain will have another world champion. And we like Callum, obviously. He's a Joe G fighter. And wish him all the best and want him to bring it home because there's some big domestic fights to be made at British with other British, light heavyweights, isn't there?
We're Team Joe G, aren't we?
Team Joe G. Well, Joe's gym's only like 20 minutes from me. You know what I mean? So it's like he's local to me, and I've always liked Joe Gallagher. And as Terry would say, his body of work and what he's done with fighters over the years it's all the proof you need that he's a world-class trainer.
Terry comes out with all that the journey that he's been on and all that, doesn't he? And the body of work.
We love Terry though, don't we?
Yeah.
I love Terry. I listen to his Beyond Boxing on Spotify, and he's always a great listen, Terry. And when he comes on, I love the banter that you two have, especially when he digs out Cobra.
Speaking of Spotify, the Porky's Corner of the side.
I was on Spotify, yeah.
I'm last to know, aren't I? So what's this here? Porky's Talkies. Fucking load of shit. That is cringe, that or what? But like I said, when you're last to know, I'm on the rubbing rag up there now, aren't I? But if we want to do that, do that. It's because some people don't like adverts, do they, in videos?
Yeah.
I mean, we have them so we can get paid. There's
Yeah.
expenses to pay. It's a non-profit making channel, but we're doing Spotify now. I don't. How does that work? That Spotify then?
It's just like, well, Spotify, like it's like a platform where you can listen to music, and there's a lot of people that do podcasts on this. Like Terry does his podcast on there. I don't know how it works, like revenue wise, but I just know it's an app you can like listen to music on. Like I listen to my music on there, and like I'll listen to podcasts, and they're like, do you know like Joe Rogan? Like Joe Rogan's on there. Like Joe Rogan was on YouTube originally.
They're long is, aren't they?
Yeah,
I put him on at night time and drop off with him on.
Yeah. Well, that's it. And like Joe Rogan, he when he signed to his deal with Spotify, so he was going to be exclusive to Spotify. It were worth millions. You know what I mean? But I don't know revenue wise how it would work, but there would be some revenue depending on if you could get like acquire listeners and stuff. But I'm pretty sure.
So you get 200 grand a week, Joe Rogan, for that.
Yeah, he gets a lot of, yeah, and don't forget as well with Joe Rogan, he's got obviously sponsors as well, people who sponsor his show, and he does the commentary gig for UFC as well. So he'll get two other sources of income for that as well. Don't forget he's like the main commentator in UFC. He doesn't commentate on all the cards, he just commentates on the big ones now. So he like the mini shows. So like the UFC's equivalent to, you know, like a Sky Saturday Night Fight Night. He wouldn't commentate on them. He commentates on like, you know, the pay-per-view cards and like the big cards sort of thing. So, but don't forget that's like another avenue of like income for him. So yeah, he's done well for himself, Joe Rogan. But I like him. He's a good listen.
Yeah, he is. He's all right, Joe Rogan. He's into all conspiracies and that, isn't he?
Yeah, he's dead into his stuff like that, and he talks a lot of he brings up controversial topics. Like he'll talk a lot about like drug usage and stuff like that, and like he's like you know what I mean. He's not like, he doesn't play it safe. They talk about everything. You know, they talk about controversial stuff, and like they have a lot of guests on there. Like there's all sorts of people. Like they've had Dorian Yates on it. Like they've had Ronnie Coleman on it, and they have everybody on it. They get everybody on it. They get like scientists like who used to work at NASA. They get people who are like into Bigfoot and aliens and stuff like that. It's just all around like a good listen. It's just good to like just hear people just chat shit. And you know what I mean? You learn a lot from it as well, you know, because it's not only stuff like globally they talk about, it's like a lot of stuff like problems in America and stuff like that, you know what I mean? So it's good to listen to. I enjoy it.
Okay then. Well, listen, thanks for coming on, Chris. Good to have a catch up with you. Yeah,
no worries, mate. Pleasure as always. Appreciate it.
Video number 22 for the month, 8 to go. I'm way ahead, aren't I, for this month?
Yeah, you're way ahead, yeah. Give yourself a bit of a buffer period at Christmas.
I'm off, I think I'm going to Essex this week and Kent.
Yeah. You're going to see Mickey?
I'm going to see Mick. And I'm going to go see my pals at Tunbridge Wells. So we might be coming on board with channel next year, all being well. So it's all good.
Yeah. Looking good, mate.
Kid, I'm going to Germany with. We're going to Germany. We're gonna go see some. Probably, I don't know about filming. I don't know. Gonna go see some of them World War II memorial, not memorial, concentration camps and all that in Germany and stuff like that. I'm gonna go see some of them.
Porky on the road, eh?
Porky road trip. Might get a camera. We're going. He's got a McLaren, hasn't he? So we might.
I remember. Yeah, McLaren. Yeah.
But I've been told that getting on Eurostar in one of them is a bit dangerous because they're really low and they might get damaged. I don't know. So we might end up going in another car, but McLaren might end up getting took out to Germany, and we'll be there for us when we get there because there's autobahn, isn't there?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so you just put your foot down.
So you might see Porky. Give it one of them.
Porky on the hard road.
I'll let him drive, Paul drive, because I'm not wrapped up like if I got in a McLaren out like that, I could end up bumping it or putting it upside down, or I don't know, that's why I don't buy out really, really quick, because I get them days where I'm in a foul mood. Have you ever been in a bad mood in your car, or you lose yourself in some music, and all of a sudden you're just ripping through bends and this and that?
Yeah, all the time, mate. All the time.
It's not good, mate. And I don't want to fall out with someone and smash in his car that's probably worth buy about 10 houses either for what he paid for it.
True. Yeah. And then obviously, so going to Germany. What about, are you going back to Turkey anytime soon?
Yeah, first week in April, I think, or last week in March.
Yeah, so only around the corner, and that's going. You're getting it like that'll be like the second half of it, then, won't it? Is that what is the finishing off the teeth, or is it what you're going for?
These got to be took out, and implants put in a mouthful of implants, haven't they?
That's it. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, so it's like the finishing it off, basically, aren't they?
Yeah, because my bones will have become adjusted to the screws that are on my jaw. That jaw graft and jawbone graft, top and bottom sinus lift, root canal. I've got to have that as well when I go back. Well, it was a big job, wasn't it, for me? That obviously it went a bit pear shaped with stomach exploding, didn't it?
Just a little bit.
Just a little bit, but we plod on, don't we? I just had an email actually off insurance company, and we're saying, because I threatened them with legal action. I said, where's my dough? Because you know what I'm like, straight John Bull, aren't I? I want my dough. You've got me invoices, blah de blah. I'm taking it to financial ombudsman.
Yeah, taking it to ombudsman. Yeah,
got a reply off them. It's only the second reply I've had off them in 2.5 months. Because they're shit. They don't know what they're doing.
Yeah, they're not.
Go on.
They're not good, mate.
I've got to go through it all again now. Luckily, we've photocopied everything, and it's just a case of me filling forms in and sending it to this. It's all designed to wear it out, mate.
Well, the thing is, though, mate, like they're quick to take your money, but they're not quick to pay it out, are they?
Only 15 quid, though, wasn't it, the insurance? But I had it, though, didn't I?
Yeah, that's it, mate. You're better safe than sorry, and it's a small cost, and at least if anything ever happens like that, you're always covered. I don't understand people who go away without having all of their insurance. So
why? Because they should, because when you cross road in Turkey, traffic comes some other way, so we're used to looking right, aren't we?
Yeah.
And really, it's coming from the other way. I nearly come across it a couple of times, so you got to be on the ball.
Yeah, and they don't exactly drive safely around there, do they?
What do you think, man? The crackheads, mate, not us. Well, they're not crackheads because, hey, do you know the drug situation over there? They've got that under control,
Oh, yeah. They don't mess about over there, do they?
What? People getting free a year, mate, for a tenner bag of weed over there, mate. Possession.
Yeah, no, they don't mess about like they do over here, do they?
When I went over there, right, listen to this bird. I'm not going to say anything in case she's watching, but I got talking to her. She's from Manchester. So how are you doing? She said, I'm all right. She says, I scored last night. I said, scored what? She goes, some weed. I was, oh, did you? Anyway, Michelle found out about it, and she says, oh, you don't want to be... Michelle's like, you don't want to be messing about like that around here. Somebody got free year for a spliff. So, because I was thinking, well, if I can't sleep in a couple of nights, I might need a number off her here.
Yeah.
But she said it was shit. The weed was shit. And then once Michelle was telling me about so and so, we got 3 years. I'm like, well, they'll do it out.
Yeah, no chance, mate.
Yeah, man. And hey, there's none of that PlayStation in your pad and all that. And your mum's here to visit you. She brought you a sandwich. There's none of that. It'll be dungeon job, won't it?
Yeah, it's that. And then I mean, it was as bad getting put in that hospital ward, mate.
What? That was a nightmare on its own. And you got telly at bottom of bed, and only channel on it that's spoke English were Bloomberg.
Yeah, crypto.
Crypto. All I did was just educate myself on crypto. Stay away from crypto. It's a busted flush.
There you go. At least you came out saying you've learned a lot about crypto. You're now a crypto expert.
I'm not an expert, but I did study it for that week every day. And when it's all in people's heads, it's like doing stocks and shares, isn't it? It's like going to bookies and putting the money on an horse, and there being 20 horses in race. It's pot luck. That's all.
Swings and roundabouts, mate.
If you have a lot of luck with it, you think you're an expert. If you don't, you hate it. So stay away from it anyway.
Yeah.
So
just get out on the hard road and do some work.
Get out on the hard road, like Big John Fury, working on building sites and then fighting at night. Never had a job in his life, mate.
Hey, don't forget, when they were working full time, they were third in England, 8 in Europe, 30 in America.
5 in Europe, we're 3 in UK, 5 in Europe, number 30 in the world. Pop, pop, bang.
Pop, pop, bang. Pop, pop, bang.
End of, give me them belts back that you stole, you bum. Don't know you, don't want to know you. That's one of my favourite ones, that.
Yeah.
Right, I'm going to get off. But listen, we've had a good chat, Chris.
Yeah.
Hope you have a fantastic Christmas. I'll probably speak to you before then, but
yeah, probably, mate.
Weekend.
Yeah, thanks very much, mate. I appreciate it. And if I'm not on before Christmas, I hope everybody who watches the channel has a good Christmas and a happy New Year, and just stay safe and enjoy it.
All
and
right,
you too, Ross. Thanks very much.
No problem. You take care.
Right, sweet. I'll see you later, mate. Nice one.
All right.
See you in a bit.
Well, that was Chris Burnsy from Chorley, where Ozzie Smith lives. Chorley's favourite cricketer, Oswald Smith. Well, I started doing now. Just grab a DVD or two and I watch one of them. Fast and Furious 8, seen it. Wildcard, Jason Statham. Today's film, Wildcard. Should we watch Wildcard, Rocky? What more could a person want? Big old bed, telly on, Jason Statham, load of Chupa Chups, and my dog Rocky. I am ahead of the game. Have a great weekend, everybody. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And leave a comment. And if you want to get your votes in for Helmet of the Year, it's porkycorner@mail.com. Also, if you don't want to watch this with adverts on it and all that, just go on to Spotify. All right. Peace out.